I'm Eleni Kalakos, also known as the Speaker Whisperer, and I'm here yet again to have a nice, probably mostly one-way conversation with you about charismatic presence, 5 principles for magnetic presentations. This is my 3rd book, my most recent book. Very proud of my book, baby. So what I was thinking about today was that I really wanted to talk to you about showtime. Right? Showtime. That's the moment when the curtain metaphorically goes up and all eyes are on you. And a little bit about that moment right beforehand. I always think about this in relationship to my work as an actress, because I started out as an actor for years and years. And even when I was very young, really in the 4th grade is when I started. And I remember I think it was my senior year of high school, at Canton High School in Massachusetts. And I was in a production of a show called Bells Are Ringing. And I remember I was supposed to type while someone dictated to me. And I went to sit down at this typewriter and I looked and there was no paper in the typewriter. Now, I wasn't the only one who noticed that because the audience noticed that too. That's the thing. Your audience has eagle eyes and they're very conscious of you up there on that stage. And I remember just staring at that empty typewriter thinking, this is going to look really stupid if I start to type. And from the wings of the stage came an arm. It was the stage manager handing me a piece of newspaper. Newspaper, folks, printed newspaper, which apparently I was supposed to put into the typewriter to use as paper. And I did it. But I didn't like it. The audience was giggling. I felt thrown for a loop. That's the stuff. You don't want to be thrown for a loop when the audience's eyes are on you, especially when you begin. And I learned from that a couple of things. One is that I need to be the one to control as much as I can when I am on stage or preparing to enter the stage. And I say stage because I come from an acting background and a performing background, singer-songwriter here as well. So I think of the stage anytime I think of any kind of speaking platform. It is the place where you show up, right? I don't care if it's a boardroom. I don't care if it's a big proscenium theater. Whatever it is, that's the sacred stage, and you're there to honor it by being as prepared as possible. That's what I was taught. So here's what I want you to think about in relationship to this. How much can you wrap your arms around and take care of yourself so that you're secure, and how much can you let go and trust to others? That's how I think about preparation. I like to prepare as much as possible using what I have to offer, right? What I can control, what's in my hands, so that I can step out onto that stage and feel like I got this, everything's in place. I can assure you that after that time, when the paper wasn't in the typewriter, I made sure before I stepped onto that stage every night that there was paper already in the typewriter. I checked all of my props to make sure they were all where they needed to be. You know, cross your T's, dot your I's. Then you can relax into the moment because you know you'll have least thought of as much as you possibly could and let go of the rest, right? So when I talk about this, and I think of showtime, and I'm going to describe what showtime is to me. This phase begins the morning of the speaking event. From the moment when you wake up and think, oh my God, today's the day. You know that feeling, right? Yep. And you immediately start to sphincter up, right? It continues up until the moment you open your mouth and begin to deliver your talk. Showtime is by far the trickiest part for my clients to manage, even for clients who have thoroughly prepared and rehearsed. That's why the focus on this phase, right, needs to be on controlling whatever elements you can so that you feel centered, relaxed, and ready when the metaphorical curtain rises. And there are 3 parts to showtime prep. Before you get to the speaking venue, once you arrive at the venue, and when you're on deck waiting to go on. And today I'm going to talk about before you get to the speaking venue. I mean, think about it from the moment you get up in the morning knowing, oh, yep, today's the day I'm going to get up there on that stage and I'm going to do my thing. Until, once you arrive at the venue. That's what we're going to talk about really right now. Okay? So bearing that in mind, I really mean it when I say that when you wake up on the morning, when you're going to give a talk or something that's high stakes of that nature, you start to think about it almost as soon as you wake up. And as you do, all that armor starts to attach itself to you. You start to literally armor up. Your body starts to go into lockdown. So your job from the moment you get up that day until the moment you get onto that stage, if you will, is to stay as relaxed, breathing as possible. Just in a nice, relaxed, breathing body, constantly counteracting any part of your body that wants to tense up. Tension is your enemy as a speaker, as a performer. Tension is your enemy because you can neither transmit nor receive in a body that is locked down. I always pay attention to where I'm starting to lock up. Typically, it's my shoulders. That means I'll tense and release them, and I'll exhale with a sound. On a Laney breath, as my clients like to term it. I shake my hands out. I will just wiggle my body around. I will stay conscious around my body from the moment I get up to the moment I am in front of that audience. Constantly tensing and releasing body parts to stay loose. Whether I'm on a big proscenium stage or whether I'm doing something like this, I want to be nice and physically relaxed. Now, I will wake up my voice with vocal exercises. I look at my list here in my book, and that's the first thing I've got on my list. Before you arrive at the venue, wake up, warm up your voice with vocal exercises. You learn to protect your voice by doing vocal exercises, but you're not just protecting it, you're getting it ready to rock. That's imperative. So there's a few simple things that you can do to warm up your voice. And I want to say this, I'm reminded now of Patty Allison, my amazing vocal teacher, and who's probably one of the greatest singers on the planet. I did a show with her many years ago, and we were living in the same place while we were rehearsing the show and doing the show. And interestingly enough, whenever we would wake up in the morning, she was always up before me. Patty was up before me and vocalizing before me. It was a very specific series of vocalizations that she eventually taught me when I hired her to work with me. And it woke me up. And the first time it happened, I went out and I said, Patty, what are you doing? I mean, it's like 7:30 in the morning. She said, honey, I get my voice warm. I vocalize as soon as I wake up. I start getting my voice going. And then she said, hey, rehearsals at the Met in New York start at 10. Got to be ready for them. Meaning, you got to be ready with your voice before you get in front of that audience. So get that voice going. Here are some very simple vocal exercises that you can do. One of them, very simply, is just to make a siren with your voice like this. With an E. E. Very simple. Up and down. Another version of that, right, is if you go like this, like a little baby blowing spit bubbles, and then make it go up and down like a siren. Another variant of that is going from high to low. Whee! On a whee sound, like we did, wee, whee, wee, wee. And if you don't want to be bothered with any of that, then a very simple thing to do is just, well, hum anything. It doesn't matter. Anything that you want to hum. It doesn't matter. Just get the breath moving through those vocal cords. It gets them all nice and juicy. You want juicy vocal cords. Get yourself all dressed in that wardrobe. I hope you would have already thought about what you were going to wear, and that you would have made sure that there would be nothing dingle-dangly, jangly, ripped, or broken, like a broken zipper in your pants. Fact of the matter is, if your zipper's broken, where do you think our eyes are going to go look? Right there. We're going to not pay attention to you and your message. Anything that might distract, right? You want to be able to breathe in whatever you're wearing, and it should make you feel like $1,000,000. Now, I have a checklist that I make, and I check off to make sure that I'm taking everything that I need to take to the venue. And I typically pack my car the night before with all the essentials, and then I go over that list. Why? Because dang it, I have forgotten things in the past. And that's not a good feeling when you get there and you're like, oh my God, I forgot my thumb drive that has my presentation on it. And by the way, you should always have not only a thumb drive with your presentation on it, it should be up in the cloud somewhere. You should have a paper backup of it as well. Because you never know when something could go wrong, and something invariably will. You know how that is. So this includes, right, everything. This list should have everything you need on it. Cords, dongles. Don't you love that word, right? Your slide advancer, any audience handouts, extra batteries for your little slide advancer. Anything. Giveaways for your audience, whatever it is. Put it on that list. Check everything on that list. Make sure you've got what you need. Because if you don't have what you need, if there's no metaphorically paper in the typewriter, you're going to look kind of foolish up there, right? And it's going to throw you. And mostly you don't want to throw yourself if you can help it, right? Now, if you are presenting at a specific time, don't get there at the last minute, I beg you. Ever since the pandemic and all the kind of wacky flight issues that have been happening more and more over the years, I have found myself being even more careful about how I make plans to get to an event that I'm going to speak at. I will always go the day before and give myself enough time so that if something goes wrong with that flight, I can book another one for the same day. But if something is local for you, which is very typical, right? Something's local. What you need to be able to do is if you need to and you're unsure of where it is, go do a dry run a couple of days before. Find out. Make sure you know how to get there easily and leave way early. I once had to give a keynote at a venue that was around probably 50 minutes drive away from me. I left 2 hours early so I could get there an hour early. And there was a massive accident with a semi on the freeway. And I got there maybe 35 minutes before I was supposed to start. I freaked out, but thank God I had given myself that much time in advance. And I let the event person know, the person who my contact there, I kept her, in the loop with me the whole time so that she wouldn't be worried. But I'll tell you, thank God I had that wiggle room, right? So give yourself a little breathing room and wiggle room. Now, when you get to the venue, get to that stage area as soon as you can. As soon as you can, wherever it is that you're going to be presenting. I don't care if it's a conference room, go there and make friends. That's how I think about it. Friend time. What can you do to help yourself feel comfortable in that room and make it feel like your living room or whatever? Absolutely. And if you're doing this virtually, log in 30 minutes beforehand, at least. I do. I would rather be there early in case some technical thing goes wrong. Okay? In fact, I did that today with this. For some reason, there was some weird little technical issue with my LinkedIn attaching to my the app that I use to stream. And it's good that I came on as early as I did so I could work it out, right? always, now this is the musician in me speaking, also the actor, because we had tech rehearsals, right? We were just so careful about the tech. We had to make sure that all the technology was working properly. And as a musician, I can tell you that having a good sound check, making sure that the sound is working properly, that your microphone is as it needs to be. These are the kinds of things that, don't for the very first time speak using your microphone when you get in front of your audience, right? So as I say here, ensure you know how to turn your mic on and off if you're using a handheld mic, let's say, and make sure that the batteries in there are fully loaded. Honestly, just because you're speaking at a venue doesn't mean that they're necessarily on top of things, right? You have to make sure. I always like to walk around the stage, and I like to check to see if there are any feedback hot spots. What'll happen is you'll get feedback if you stand on certain parts of the stage. It's reflecting into the sound equipment, right? That's in the ceiling, and it's a problem, right? Basically, if you point your microphone into a speaker, and they're often embedded in the ceiling, there will be feedback. So figure out if there are any areas where you must be careful to not stand. You'd be surprised how often that will happen. If you are speaking virtually, it's the same thing. You just want to make sure that all the technical details, everything is working properly, that you're able to show your PowerPoint effectively. And I would have hoped that you would have done a dress rehearsal, a tech dress, if you will, prior to actually getting in front of that audience. If you're working with someone who is helping to produce it for you, right? You have to work the stuff out in advance, or it will work itself out on you publicly and not in a happy way. And then do what I said I did when I was in that play. Go around and set the stage. If, let's say, you have, check to see, where is your computer going to be, right? Where are you going to put your, do you have separate notes? Where are they going to be? If you have handouts, where are your handouts and how are they going to be disseminated? All of those little details, right? Just to help yourself just stay out of your head where Mo and Schmo, your little judgers, live, and relax into your body. You just want to make sure everything as it's needed, right? Is set up as it's needed. That includes also your water bottle, which I hope is a bottle and not a glass. And it's capped because, God forbid, in the middle of something, you hit your glass of water and it goes everywhere, right? And you should always have that water with you, right? In case you need a moment to sort of collect yourself. Boy, it's helpful to have that water glass up there just to give you a little breathing room and also wet your whistle when your mouth goes dry due to fight or flight. If you are presenting virtually, prior to getting in front of people, make sure to straighten out your whole desk area. I did that because I don't want to be distracted myself by clutter around me, right? Any notes, any prompts, anything like that, you want to make sure that they are where they need to be. They're not going to flutter away. You see what I'm getting at? Control what you can. Now, when you are on deck, waiting to go on, this is the time to help yourself be in that body. And next time we get together, I'm going to share with you some simple tools that you can engage in that tricky time when you are on deck, waiting to go on, that can help you keep your body relaxed and breathing, help you remain focused on what you're there to do, and help you manage what I call the magic moment, which is that moment of quiet when everyone is looking at you before you open your mouth and speak for the first time, when you transition into talking. So next time we meet, we're going to talk about what to do prior to that magic moment to help still yourself, center yourself, get yourself ready, and elevate your 3 presence planes to maximum advantage, and then manage the magic moment that can go poorly or well, depending on how you come at it, right? So that you can set yourself up for a winning presentation before you even open your mouth for the very first time. Thank you, everybody, for spending time with me today. I'll see you next time. I appreciate you. And remember, you can always buy my book, Charismatic Presence, 5 Principles for Magnetic Presentations, on Amazon. And I'll see you again very soon. Remember, use your words to change your world. Bye, everybody.